About 200,000 years ago, perhaps the first war in the history of mankind began. Homo sapiens fought for territory and resources with Neanderthals, and this led to the gradual extermination of the latter. But the animals began to quarrel long before a man picked up a stick. And believe me, their wars have always been no less brutal. Let's go. Here is a real fortress of ants. Impregnable walls of leaves and guards everywhere. A large and very successful colony lives in this place. But the cooler the colony, the more powerful enemies it attracts. If you've watched The Hobbit, then remember what happened to the dwarves of the Lonely Mountain. For everyone else, I explain. When they accumulated too much gold, a dragon flew in, set fire to everything and seized this gold along with the mountain. The dragon. And now, do you see this spider? Not a dragon, of course, but he came for the same purpose. Ant gold is what they value most. These are larvae. Now take a closer look at the spider. His body looks suspiciously like the body of an ant. Thanks to this, the spider simply cleans up in the most guarded place of the anthill and quietly steals the larvae. Stop, stop. What about security? Surprisingly, they don't understand what's going on. It seems similar. Looks like Steve's brother or his grandma. Okay, let him go. Wait, an alarm? Yes, let's imagine that it sounds exactly like that in ants. It seems the colony is in danger, and it's not even about a spider. This guard releases special pheromones that summon all the inhabitants of the anthill to war. To the war? Yes, the most ancient war, which has been going on for more than 100 million years. In fact, ants are very similar to humans. Judge for yourself, an ant alone, like a human, has little chance of success, but united, they are capable of incredible things. Ants build large colonies, engage in their agriculture and, just like humans, unleash wars. So, the signal of the guard warned everyone about the attack of ants from another colony. Here they are, crawling up the tree. Their colony is not so prosperous, so they came to rob and seize someone else's. But the war of the ants, it's not just hitting the enemy with paws and biting. The defenders of the fortress have a special weapon, guns with acid. Muranic acid seems to be something like a funny acidic liquid for a person, but in the wild world it can save the life of an entire anthill. Or, look, this huge ant belongs to the species Camponotus gigas, is considered one of the largest in the world and can reach 3 centimeters in length. Well, small, ordinary ants are tailors defending their fortress. They have a special strategy to defeat such a giant. First he needs to be immobilized. See these guys? While they hold his paws and make it impossible to resist, others quickly inflict bites and inject venom into the body of a large ant. And here neither the size nor the powerful jaws will help. Chemical weapons are triggered, the giant is defeated. After him, the last invader also dies. Today the fortress was defended, but at what cost? Hundreds, thousands of ant lives. In general, everything is like in a normal war. And such battles happen all the time. As I said, ants have been fighting for more than 100 million years. During this time, they have not only weapons, but also different professions. From a night watchman to a barrel of sweet water. Yes, the task of this ant is to be a barrel. Well, just a dream profession. But we are interested in other guys. And here they are. A big head, powerful jaws, only a soldier ant can boast of such a set. Moreover, there are even ranks in the ant army. For example, this one is a private. The bigger one is already a sergeant, but the biggest of them is a major. In some families there are also super majors, giant creatures from the point of view of insects. In general, the bigger the ant, the older it is in rank. I'm not sure if they're insubordinate, but who knows. And now back to the ant weapon. It is unique for each species. For sure, some scientists do not even suspect yet. But what if the enemy overcomes all the lines of defense? And acid cannons, and soldiers with big jaws? To figure out what the options are, let's take a look at the attackers. Who are they anyway? Meet the nomadic ant. To understand who it is, you need to move to the 13th century. It was then that the Mongol wars under the leadership of experienced generals were a real plague of that time. Have you heard about Genghis Khan? Many believe that his warriors did not even have their own home. They simply seized, plundered and destroyed everything in their path. In reality, of course, everything was a little more complicated, but let's omit this fact, otherwise we won't get a beautiful comparison. So, nomadic ants don't have their own home either. They do not build anthills, but regularly migrate from one place to another, simultaneously emptying other people's homes. These are several species that are united by a love of constant travel and the destruction of all life in their path. Look, here they are eating a snake. But here the scorpion was already unlucky. Big scissor-like jaws, plus a numerical advantage, plus the acid that ants inject into their lunch. Anyone who gets caught by the nomads on the way will be dissolved from the inside and eaten. The only way to avoid a terrible death: stay completely still. These ants are almost blind and are guided only by sound. Here, the grasshopper understands what's what. Otherwise, these ants will not be stopped by acid guns and any other weapons. Perhaps human, too, because, well, don't shoot back from them. Therefore, if nomads attack one colony, their nearest neighbors will immediately find out about it. Survival depends on it. And while one anthill is being defeated, an urgent evacuation is already underway in the other. They have noticed the nomads and are trying to save the most valuable thing the ants have. The same ant gold that all the invaders want to steal. There is a rescue of larvae, but there are also those who have learned to defend themselves in their own way. See this hatch? It's a turtle ant. Literally, this hatch is the ant. Most often they settle in some tree, occupying cavities and cracks. The main feature of these ants is the presence of a large concave shield in soldiers, which plays an important role in protecting the colony from the enemy. Some species also use it to plan if they accidentally fall from a great height. So, when the same ant guard sounds the alarm, these guys close all the entrances and exits with their heads. The enemy simply cannot enter, and no matter how strange it may sound, an ordinary door is enough for protection. A thick chitinous plate, like a cork, covers the entrance well. It won't pass. Nomadic ants do not waste time trying to figure out its structure, they just move on and capture some other anthill. And since we're talking about unusual ways to protect an anthill, here's a fact for you. Some of the species can even explode next to the enemy. Literally. Here. You see, this soldier sacrificed himself to save the colony. I don't think ants are capable of experiencing fear, of course, but... And now look at the place of other battles from above. Why? You can't see anything. It's just a forest. But only 50 years ago there was a bloody war between chimpanzees, who do not look like harmless fruit eaters. In general. These are cannibals who can not only hunt other primates, but also exterminate entire populations. By the way, the closest relatives of a person. Immediately noticeable, right? So, this area of the forest is ruled by one large community of chimpanzees. But then an event happened that changed their lives forever. The clan was divided into two warring parties, one in the north, the other in the south. For 4 whole years, these groups have been conducting real and military operations. The skirmishes went far beyond the usual throwing of stones at the enemy. The monkeys used cunning tactics, lying in wait for the enemy and not letting him escape. Moreover, after killing the enemy, the victors divided it and ate right on the battlefield. During the war years, all males of one of the groups were killed, their females went missing, and the cubs were forcibly led to the winners. After the winners completely cleaned up someone else's territory, they took possession of it, just like people. True, then another war broke out, and the clan had to retreat, but that's a completely different story. See you later.